Oh, stop it. Might have hit it a couple minutes too early, but we can start talking,
Yeah,
and then
sure.
we'll talk to Mike.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay, he's getting there. You okay there, young
Yeah.
man? Okay.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes. If anybody has turned on earlier, we are streaming a little bit early, so Bruce and I will set the what we're doing for the show this morning. Show will start at 9 o'clock if anybody's listening early. If not, no. If you're tuning in at 9 o'clock, you'll have it just like you always had it. We're 2 minutes into the stream. Everything seems to be going okay, Bruce, so that's the good news.
No.
I think I make this tougher than it is. I got a bunch of notes. We're on YouTube, which is great. We can go 2 hours plus, and a lot more people can get us on YouTube than formerly the old one, Podbeam. So, Bruce, this morning we're going to talk a lot of Major League Baseball. Of course, but there are a lot of Philly fans in the area, so we will concentrate on the Phillies, but we'll gloss over everything. And basically, you can get the standings out in the morning call. I don't get a physical copy anymore, and we'll get those standings. Like I said, what teams are alive and well.
Yeah, you know what? I can look. I think I have a Major League standings.
That's awesome. So
I look at this almost every day. But yeah, let's see. Major League
Yes.
standings. Okay. Yeah, these are up to date. As you well know, the American League has very few teams that are over 500, whereas in the National League, almost everybody and their brother are at 500 or better, or pretty close.
Yeah, except for a couple like Colorado and who else?
Colorado and the Angels in the American League. In fact, I think they both have the same record, if I'm not mistaken. 42 and 68 are the Angels, and what else am I looking at here? Colorado. They're 43 and 67. So the Angels now have they're the team that their fans, whoever they are, can show up with bags over there.
Bruce, can I see your newspaper for a second?
Yeah, sure.
And give me a general idea. Except for last night's results, I didn't get last night's scores. Like I said, except for the Phillies, I know the Braves won again, and the Braves were going to start running away with this again. And as I had mentioned to my mother this weekend, because Phillies slide and Washington's so close to the Phillies, I didn't care if the Braves beat them. I think for the Phillies' benefit, it's going to be all about getting to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And take their chances there.
Getting in maybe as hard, or maybe even harder than winning the whole thing.
The only other team in the National League that's out of it is the San Francisco Giants.
And the Mets.
And Cincinnati Reds are teetering. Like I said, they would need a great 8 weeks to get back in this race.
Yeah, that's true. Yes. Yeah.
And as you said, the American League is, like I said, the A's and the Angels aren't playing that well. Kansas City's been a major disappointment.
Yeah.
And Detroit has been a disappointment. and Toronto, defending American League champions, will be selling, and there's rumors that the Phillies may do some business with them. I just hope it's the right business. I don't want to see what the Phillies did in the '60s when they traded Ferguson Jenkins for Bob Buell and Larry Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
It wasn't Adolfo Phillips also in
yes,
that trade?
yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we kind of forget about that.
Yeah.
And that's because we want to.
Yeah, we do. No. So we'll see if Michael Ventolo answers early, and we'll see if we'll get the ball rolling. Our guest this morning, we have a great array of guests before I call Mike.
Probably more impressive than the hosts.
Yeah, but I think so. Especially the guy that's running the board. And yours truly, Bruce is always a treat,
No.
a treat and a guest.
No, that I can't stack up to this lineup.
We have Mike Ventola from Service Electric TV. Of course, Mike was the former voice of the Reading Fighting Phils and the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs. At 9:30, one of his cohorts where he got his start, Greg Caserta, Pat McCarthy, who's now with New York Mets, and Mike were all in the booth at one time in Reading together.
Is that right?
Mike was their boss.
Okay.
And I did some Reading games, had a great time with them. At 10 o'clock, one of Bruce's real good friends and my friend over the years, Jack McCallum, former Bethlehem Globe Times writer, and then went all the way to Sports Illustrated and did a fantastic job there.
Yeah, he also worked for the Morning Call and
Yes.
also the Philadelphia Bulletin, and also the it was Baltimore American, I think it was.
Resume is endless, and it's deserving so.
Yeah.
At 10:30, we're going to go to maybe some little local sports for a half hour. We're going to have Jeff Achenzi. Jeff, of course, is my partner in JAJL Radio. JA's for Jeff Achenzi, and JL's for me, of course. And we do all the Eastern Area High School football and wrestling broadcasts, and Jeff coordinates a lot of all the other broadcasts for all the sports throughout the school year. So Jeff's just very invaluable, and we'll talk about a little about fall sports starting up August 9th. And at 11 o'clock, Bruce Nagy's going to get a half hour extra beauty sleep. We'll have Bruce to end the show and tell us if the Angels are going to make a trade with the Phillies or something, or what the Padres are doing, who are making a charge now after presumed for dead. So we'll get Bruce's viewpoints, and of course the evil empire of the Los Angeles Dodgers. If they get Skubal, you might mail it in now and say the race is over for everything. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, the Angels already made a trade they jettisoned Lance O'Hoppe.
Yeah, Ryan O'Hoppe.
Who did I say? Lance. It's
Logan.
Logan O'Hoppe. I'm sorry.
Named after my dog.
Yeah, right.
My sister's dog,
yeah,
technically.
And he had a really excellent year last year. This year he struggled, and I was a little surprised to see that they used him as a trade chip. And, so they kind of started the trade season off with a bang, and you're going to see obviously in the next couple days up until what's the deadline? 6 o'clock on Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the deadline. So I don't know about you, Jack, but I think the Phillies are limited in what they can do.
Good morning, Michael Ventola. It sounds like at the other end. Good morning. How are you, sir? Good. I got Bruce Brody with me, and
Mike, how you doing? Good to talk to you again.
We're just talking about our all-star lineup. That you're the leadoff batter, followed by Greg Caserta batting second. You told me how the hit and run in Reading, and then we have Jack McCallum, formerly of Sports Illustrated, and local fame of the Morning Call and the Bethlehem Globe Times. Then Jeff Achenzi, and my broadcast is going to go to 11:30 today because I'll have Bruce Nagy on from 11 to 11:30. So, Mike, you're the leadoff batter, and going to talk a lot of baseball, but we can mix a little football in or NBA with you too. Michael, the Phillies are now 3-10 since the All-Star break, and it's been collectively a team effort. And last night, of course, the bullpen wasn't there again in the middle.
it would, if they didn't make the playoffs, then you might as well fire everybody. You got to from Dave Dombrowski on down to clean house at this point if they somehow miss the playoffs. I really don't think that's going to happen because of where they're currently sitting in the National League East standings and how the other wild card competitors are. They're, yes, are gaining steam, not losing, they're gaining steam, but August 1 is today. Sometimes it's 1 month, you turn it on in the next month. So maybe let's get the calendar turned over. I didn't think Andrew Painter last night. And, was he fantastic? No. Did he stink? No. He was okay to start last night. But I just think right now, ultimately, you got to look at the leaders in this clubhouse. You got to look at Bryce Harper. You got to look at Kyle Schwarber. You got to look at guys like Trey Turner and JT Realmuto. And obviously, Christopher Sanchez, Zach Miller, they've been doing their part, in regard to the starting staff. Nola's been better here in the second half. You got to look at those guys. At some point, you got to stop pointing the finger elsewhere and look at yourselves. And yes, do they need help? They desperately need some reinforcements. But until those reinforcements come, if they do come, you're not a start. That's it.
Yes, Mike, Bruce can chime in with you. I think Bryce Harper's statement after Tuesday's game, if he would have put a comment and continue the sentence that we need arms, we need hitters, and we need hitters because of myself not having a good July. I think everybody could accept that. I accepted anyway because he was telling the truth. Because, the Phillies, right now, they don't need a right-handed bat. They just need a bat, even from the left side.
How much of an upgrade was he truly over Nick Castellanos? Offensively, not at all. Defensively, better. But to me, it was kind of a wash. I know Castellanos has had it up and down here with San Diego. Now it's Garcia. And Garcia gets hurt. But, that wasn't a earth-shattering type signing yet. James Justin Crawford, the opportunity. He is growing things there. I'm a big believer in the kid, Jack. I know you're a big believer in the kid.
Yes.
Marsh had a very good, deservedly earned an all-star bid. But I think, in this wonder now where you just really good first half. I don't want to say he's coming back down to earth, but really falling off the cliff here in the second half to start so far. Love Marsh with personality. I love Brandon Marsh as a teammate. And you start to think, okay, is he really an option long term? So that's where the outfield, in my opinion, has kind of been a big downer. Trey Turner's been inept defensively as short, but you're stuck with him contractually. He's still hitting the ball, but Bolton, you realize there's no future there. Bryson Stott, you have him under control. You still ride that. You want to ride that out. Obviously, Harper's Harper. JT, you just made your contract too, so it's a maintenance, right? You got some people that in the World Series this year, got a lot of question marks right now.
Many.
Say, hey, you guys have to find a way. I've heard this phrase many times. Bruce, I know you've heard this phrase. We all grew up collecting baseball cards, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's on the back? Back are your numbers. They gotta start living up to the back of their baseball cards. Or at least get as close as they possibly can. Until they do so, it's gonna be a struggle. It's gonna be a struggle.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of things I'd like to say, but I'll throw a number at you guys that I looked up, and I was kind of really surprised at this. Last year, the Phillies' entire infield, that would be Bohm, Turner, Stott, and Harper, together, all four of them, made a total of 18 errors. 18. That's unbelievable. This year, Trey Turner by himself has already 19, and we're only 2/3 of the way through the season. That tells you all you need to know about the overall. And the other guys, quite frankly, except for Stott, Harper, I think he's made 3 errors, and he's really good at digging the ball out of the dirt, which is a savior for your infield. Because I don't know how many errors he's saved, Turner for digging balls out of the dirt, and the same with Bohm. But their defense has not been good by any stretch. Their offense, their outfield defense has been, I guess you would say, what, Jack?
Adequate.
Okay.
Adequate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. And even I hate to say it, but JT is as strong as a leader he is, and tough guy. I don't think he's the defensive player that he once was, but he's still pretty good. And we haven't even touched on. I still say that the Phillies' problems begin and end with their minor league system. They have very few prospects, and they're really limited at what they can do in the next 3 days prior to the.
You know what the problem with really is?
What's that?
Mike Ventola left the organization
Yes,
a year and a half ago.
That was you stole my thunder, Jack. That was exactly.
He left
what
the
I was
organization.
That was the next thing I
and
was going to say.
And Lehigh Valley and Reading have been struggling ever since.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. Which outfield spot, Mike?
I don't think it matters to you, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
not fun, but also too, I guess, and this is what really killed your issue, right?
Yeah,
Aiden
yeah.
Miller was healthy. Aiden Miller was healthy, and you got an opportunity to see what the kid's all about, right? But he's been hurt all year, and he was kind of going to be your hopeful to be your shortstop in the future. You just don't know that. You don't know. And now with the uncertainty of baseball isn't being played anymore next season, if they truly lock out all year, you're not going to see a kid. You're not going to get a true test of the kid in the major league until 2022.
Yeah.
Michael, being a veteran of minor league baseball yourself, and myself as a official scorer, privy, just talking to people like one of our most informed people that we respect so much, Steve Dagler, the voice of the Iron Pigs, as I call him. Will there be minor league baseball next year? Will they lock out everything, or will there be baseball that somebody like Aiden Miller, if he recovers from the back this year, can go up the Lehigh Valley until this thing is settled next year and play? Go ahead.
Per my understanding is that there would be baseball for the minor leagues because unless you're on the 40-man roster, there will be because the minor leagues have their own they have their own union. So I think it would be kind of similar to what you saw in '94, where you didn't have a major league year, the minor leagues were still able to play. Now, my words are per my understanding.
Right.
I've also heard that if they lock out, we're all different. So I'm kind of doing some reading, talking to some other people, is that there would be some aspect of a minor league season, guys that aren't on the 40-man essentially.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
Aiden Miller would be lucky. He wouldn't be in the 40 yet.
Well, let's be honest too. They would make moves or smart and make moves for these guys so they can play.
Right.
So that's where they would get smart in that aspect. So
Yeah, Mike, the deadline is at 6 o'clock Monday night. And I think from the Phillies standpoint, the less people do till Monday, the better. Because clubs that want to trade off some assets for monetary value, the lesser clubs like Bruce, and I went over to standings, there's about a half dozen teams that are definitely out of it. Could get antsy around 4 or 5 o'clock on Monday and start making deals for some lesser prospects.
yeah, no, I mean usually that's kind of how it works, but early reports are that it's going to get busy over the next 24 to 48 hours. Because at least that's what all the high-profile, reporters are starting to report that things are really talking. So, I think with Dave Dombrowski, you got to trust him because he made moves in deadline with the Phillies. He's done it with his time with the Red Sox. He's done it his time with Detroit. He's not afraid to go make moves. So, I think, for the Phillies, it's going to be hard. I don't think not all of the problems are going to get solved. And that goes for every, I think over most teams here at the deadline because asking prices are high right now too. I mean the Red Sox were able to make a deal and Curtis Lee goes on. So things happen. But I really think for the Phillies here, which I think for Phillies fans is just you have to like to be angry right now because especially coming off the high of the All-Star game, the All-Star festivities, the team finished strong going into the break. Now it's like this. You really want to see him get a deal done. I really think Dave will get a bat of some sort. I don't think it'll be a headliner type bat. I think it'll be a lot of plug and place because I also think too he doesn't have much to give. Give up Gage Wood. Gage Wood's probably your best pitching prospect right now. Alex Rizzo is going to trade him. I watched him pitch the other night. He's got a lot of good. He's got a really good repertoire. You trade him. You don't really have big bats right now. It's not Nori, one of your better hitting prospects, but he's kind of DH'd a lot. He's DH'd a lot wherever this year. So it's going to be you have to create. You have to have some creativity by Dave. Where he may
best player in the team. He's the best.
Right now, Bruce, I mean, the way he's playing right now, you know, there's gonna people say, well, what do you do? I go, play Edmundo Sosa. You know what I mean? Yeah, so I got Sosa on the team too if you have.
Well, I guess Bruce told me at breakfast that that Stott has just one error all year. So
That's why they make Cooper to go shoot the second.
Yeah.
Much better defender at second than he would have been short.
Absolutely.
you know, Mike, let's branch out a little bit. We'll be talking to Greg Caserta, of course, more about the Phillies and his Yankees, your Yankees. Let's talk about the Yankees and Mets for our local listeners. And the Yankees, of course, are in a hunt for another bat, and they'd love to get a right-handed hitting catcher that can catch the pitching staff and give some balance to the Bronx Bombers lineup.
Well, they've been looking very hard with reports of me. And let's be honest, look at the last 2 days, the last couple of games in Chicago, White Sox and Michigan, Cubs. Starting pitching staff, 22 hits. Ready?
Yes.
Third run and 26 strikeouts.
Wow.
Brian Cashman, I don't think we don't need to talk long about this guy because when it comes to the Yankees, there's the bat, you need a catcher. You need both of that in that position, a right-handed bat, as you said, in that catching position, Jack. They could also use they could use another outfielder. Trent Grisham was horrendous in a lot of aspects this year. But your starting pitching staff is fantastic. I mean, guys, Cam Schlittler could win the American League Cy Young this year. He's been that good. Max Fried, Eric Cole, maybe a better 1-2-3 punch in the American League.
There isn't one.
Yeah.
And then we get Carlos Rodon back, who they're paying to be with 2-3 type. He's going to be the number 4 pitcher in this rotation when he comes back from injury. And he's better than most number 4 guys. And he's better than most 4s. So the issue for the Yankees is not pitching. And their bullpen, despite the Yankee fans thinking that the bullpen's horrendous, bullpen's top 5 in ERA in all of baseball. In all of baseball. So, you know, would I like to see him get a bullpen arm? Yeah. Help create a bigger bridge to David Bednar there in the ninth. What's a Brian Cashman right now? Go get a right-handed hitting catcher. Hunter Goodman from Colorado. Rutschman from Baltimore is up under consideration as well too. So, you know, because their offense kind of similar to the Phillies offense in a lot of ways right now is not getting up to speed. They're without Trout. They're without Bellinger. They're without Giancarlo Stanton. They're 3 best pure hitters in the lineup. Ben Rice could be an MVP, who is going to be an MVP candidate this year. He's kind of cooled off because he's only been in the lineup. He's not getting really pitches to hit right now. So ultimately for Yankee fans, they just get to hope and pray Brian Cashman makes a deal for a hitter or 2.
Then look to the other part of the city, the other borough, I should say. We just talked about the Bronx. Let's talk about the Queens. And Mr. Moneybags, Mr. Steve Cohen, bought the Mets. And, of course, he envisioned a lot of playoff runs and probably a world championship by now. Gave his Mr. Soto a whole lot of money and just hasn't panned out for the Mets. And I guess they have to be classified as sellers right now.
The Mets got to be sellers. It's all what it is. I would start
Yeah.
loading guys if I could. I would because you're stuck with Juan Soto. They have some very good pitching prospects. You know, their starting rotation hasn't been terrible. You know, they have some guys. They have some potential young players that's currently in their lineup and that are coming up through their system. You know, what's really kind of hurt the Mets this year is, you know, injuries early on, but there was some interesting, I don't want to use negative language, so I'll just say interesting signings by David Stearns. I think David Stearns kind of really got to take the loss for this year. Carlos Mendoza was the sacrificial lamb getting fired, but on the Mets right now, teams are calling. I would, Luis Roberts, I would trade him if I could. Corley, that they're willing to give him up for basketball at this point. And a terrible decision. Francisco Alvarez hasn't really panned out as the catcher they had hoped to be. Beatty's still a good player. McLean's obviously very exciting to watch in that start in that pitching staff. So it's funny is coming down every year the Mets have had. There's been some positives because they have guys that can help them for the future. They're starting helping out during the present a little bit. But if I'm David Stearns, I try to sell what I can for them. Take your loss this year. You and Steve Cohen, the owner, have take your hits from the press in the offseason. Throughout the rest of the year and go to the offseason, see what the lockout situation looks like, and we try to see what we can do. And probably the biggest blunder for them, and granted he was hurt. Jack, you and I talked about it. Lindor, after what he had last year, he killed him this year. Terrible. And when he's your kind of like your captain, he's your leader. And I don't want to pick on him too much because he had the injury early on, but when you're back now and it's still not producing. At this point here, as we get on to August 1, it's been a big problem for them. So, but I'm sure Philly fans aren't too disappointed with the way the Mets are turning out right now.
Bruce?
Well, pretty soon they'll be joining the Mets the way they've been playing. But yeah, the trade deadline. Dave Dombrowski, people put him down, but he's not afraid to take risks. Now, these risks, at least this year, have not really panned out, particularly in the bullpen. But I think he's kind of limited, and it's not his fault. Like you mentioned, some of the prospects, Gage Wood, I would kind of like to see them take the diaper off him a little bit more. These 3 and 4 inning outings that I guess I did jack him up to a 5 inning appearance his last outing, which is good. I'm glad they did that. But, you give up him, you give up the guy that Jack talked
Ramon
about,
Marquis.
and also
And the reliever?
yes, McFarland, and also the two. It doesn't look like Abe Miller's going to be playing this year at all. It looks like he's not. They're just going to shut him down. But these are your top prospects, and if you get rid of them, you have nothing left. So I think Dave Dombrowski is going to be lucky if he can somehow pry some middle inning reliever, maybe 2 of them. I mean, these guys wouldn't even be, like guys that were like top of the line people in the bullpen, just to replace some of the guys that I've seen enough of Seth Johnson. I just have. A guy throws 100 miles an hour, but it just shows you that if you don't have anything else besides that, you're going to get ripped in the major leagues. It doesn't matter that you throw 3 digits. And in what way?
What have you done differently?
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
That can happen in organizations.
And I got to be careful as I say this. At the end of the day, players take accountability for how they took their act, good or not good. You know, at the end of the day, their skill set is their skill set. But the conception from fans, right, in sports today is a lot of emphasis on coaching, correct?
Yes.
Fans.
Yeah.
We need coaches and impact, yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. At some point, organizations have to look at themselves inwardly, right?
Yes.
Have to take accountability of saying, you know, we did not handle this young man well. We did not do this. We did not do this young man justice. We did not maybe coach or help him progress the way he needed to progress. Maybe we took a different maybe we went down the wrong avenue with this young man. And I think at times you see prospects. Because did you ever notice it when guys leave one organization, go to another, figure it out?
Yes.
Yeah. Sure.
The right coach gets you here, figures it out. So I think at times, and I'm not saying this is all 30 teams in Major League Baseball. Sometimes they have to take some accountability and say, hey, we as an organization, we screwed them up. Because I think with Steph Johnson, there's got to be some accountability in that standpoint. Because when I look, because when if you get some time, look at how his progression was.
Yes.
Even when he was with Norfolk and AAA. Look at take Bruce. You know, because I know Jack is here with, Jack's seen him enough at Lehigh Valley. Bruce, we get some time because you're tired of Steph Johnson. Go on his baseball reference page
Mm-hmm.
and take a look at how he progressed in the Royal system. And then look how he's been since he's been with the Phillies. And then I want you, to sit there and be honest with yourself and say, what happened here? And I know you and I don't talk directly.
Yeah.
But I want you to say, you can say, wow, Mike was on to something. What do you call Mike? You call me up and you say, Jack, I like Mike. We're off base here. But take some time, because Jack will tell you. Jack saw him in a Tides uniform. Jack
Yes.
saw him he saw him in an Iron Fist uniform. There's stuff that's there that's workable. There's stuff there that's there.
Well, he throws over 100 miles an hour. I mean, that's
felt-
that's a start.
The other day was all about location, and he doesn't have the location right now as a reliever. Mike, I'm going to have to let you go. I agree with you 100%. I think one of the biggest mistakes the Phillies made maybe was promoting Preston Mattingly to general manager. I think they would have been better off keeping him as farm director, and he still could have sent it to the position of general manager later. I think Preston was doing a real good job getting that farm system into the top 15. So I think that might have been one of the moves. Let you go right now. Gotta get Greg on. Okay, and you.
Yeah. I'm looking at Seth Johnson's record right now, and you're right. He has an impressive
Resume.
resume, and also he was a starter up until last year in the minor league level, and his records, his numbers have been mixed as a reliever, but they look pretty good as a starter.
Yes.
Maybe the Phillies should think about changing the role. Just making him a starter. I mean, they need a fifth starter. They also need a fourth starter, but that's another story for another day.
Too late for this year.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll get Greg on.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Okay. Thanks, Mike.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, Mike. Good talking to you.
Okay. Get Greg Caserta on with us, and we'll go from there, okay? Yeah, I think, the minor leagues have suffered some of the decisions they made. And like I said...
But that's, except for a couple eras, small eras in time, minor league system has always been a problem for the Phillies.
yeah, for the most part.
Yeah, particularly pitching.
Yes.
When's other than Nola and Cole Hamels? When's the last starter they've really produced? You know, I mean,
Aaron Nola.
yeah, Nola and
Gregory, good morning. Good. Got Bruce Roddy with me, and I really appreciate your time on this busy weekend. Just had your old boss on, Michael Ventola, for a half hour. Yeah, Mike gave us his viewpoints, and of course, we talked about the Phillies, the Mets, the Yankees. It was really the Phillies, Yankees, and Mets in that order. But I'd like to get your viewpoint throughout all the Major League Baseball teams, not all 30, but pick out 5, 7 teams that you really want to tell us about what's going to happen in the next, let me see, 8.5 hours plus 2 days. And as a Philly fan, I'm hoping things wait till Monday, because I think the Phillies would have a better chance of making a better move Monday once some of these teams can't get what they want from other teams, and they may settle for a little less. How do you feel about that? I think what they have to do is circle in, and after last night's performance again, like by the relief corps, is circle in and have a list of 3 to 5 setup men that if they can obtain 1 or 2 of them, and then go forward with the rest of their needs. Yeah, the only movie that really struck gold home was the trade with Kansas City, unloaded Matt Strom for Bowden, and he's done a decent job for the Phils.
and Strong struggled.
Yeah. Well, one of the broadcasters on 94.1 WIP, Jason Starkmeyer brought it up even. They might have had him on as a guest, 97.5, that this team parallels very much like the 1980 Phillies.
Or the 1965 Yankees, when they went from like,
No, the 1980 Phillies won it.
yeah, but do you think that this is going to be the 1980 Phillies?
But he just said the Phillies in 1980 had a terrible July,
Right.
an average August, and played great baseball in September.
And
But
they brought up Marty Bystrom.
yeah, I don't know if there's anybody like that in the farm system or
No,
not.
right now, no.
But getting back to you, Greg, I couldn't agree with you more about Jeff Hoffman. I saw Jeff Hoffman in 2023 in the last two games against Diamondbacks not do his job. And I saw against the Mets a year later, coming in after Zach Wheeler pitched 7 scoreless innings in game 1. And before the top of the 8th inning was gone, between him and Strom, it was 5-2. And the Mets eventually won the series. And against, of course, I saw last year against the Dodgers, the home run balls he gave up. So if I want to have any kind of postseason, I don't want Jeff Hoffman in my bullpen. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes, you're 100% right there. I think what made the Phillies so effective in their run between 2007 to 2010 or 11 was the bridge to Lidge, that they had Ryan Matson, a very dependable Ryan Matson, J.C. Romero, Chad Durbin. They had, 3 guys in the back of that. Even that acquisition that year by Pat Gillick, getting Scott Air. So they had 4 really good pitchers at the end of the game.
Left-hander.
Yeah, left-hander, and they really that's what really made that team. And their stars could go 6 or 7 innings because that starting staff in 2008. You look at Jamie Moyer, you look at Myers, Joe Blanton. Except for Cole Hamels, it wasn't a great starting staff, but they could put the pieces together and it made it work. Well, last night's audition was a very favorable audition for Andrew Painter after giving up 2 runs on 2 batters, going the next 6th inning just 3 batters above the minimum, getting 6 strikeouts. He pitched very well last night, and as a Philly fan, now not being being objective on this broadcast, is this the guy going forward? And if you make him a part of the trade package next year or 2 years from now, you have a budding number 1, number 2 starter with another organization, and you just got a bullpen piece for him. That's the big question, Greg. Yeah. One acquisition I'd like to see him make, I think, could help them would be somebody like Robbie Ray, a left-handed starting pitcher that could be your number 4 or pitching relief in the down the stretch and into the playoffs. I'd love to see him try to acquire that kind of type. Okay. Yeah. And what do you think of Dalton Varsho? Yeah, I would love to pick up a number 2 hole hitter like Bader was last year to set the table, move Schwarber back to 4th. Bruce, we talked about it, Breakfast agrees with me, and lengthening the lineup because Bryson Stott and JT have come on to have good starts the second half. And you get them hitting 6th or 7th, it may lengthen the lineup. And got to ask you, what do you think of Mr. Crawford? I think, he's played an adequate center field. He hasn't botched many balls, but I'm sure there's some balls that other center fielders would get to. So I'm not ready to give up on him either. So how do you feel about Crawford? The other name I heard they were in on was J.J. McCarthy from the Rockies.
Yeah, Jake McCarthy's had an unbelievable year. If I'm the Rockies, I'm not letting him walk out the door because he's a young, capable player, former Heisman, Diamondback. Had a lot of expectations there. Like a lot of their first round picks did not really pan out, and he's now part of one of the most exciting lineups in baseball. I think a lot of national, or a lot of fans locally don't really understand what the Rockies have in their lineup. They have a really young and exciting core, and McCarthy's one of the biggest names in that bunch. So I would not let him leave, but if they feel that they can get a haul for Jake McCarthy, then listen, that might be their prerogative to try and get at him, to try and acquire him for free agency. Maybe they don't feel that he's the guy, but I just look at what he's done this year, the excitement level that he brings, the energy, the athleticism. To me, he's the guy that will be part of a staple in the offseason to come. If the Phillies go and get a guy like that, good on him, but I just don't see the Rockies market.
One last comment about the Phillies, and I really want to get to the national scene with you. I had brought this up with Bruce and Mike right before he went off. I think that the Phillies would have been better off 2 years ago to keep Preston Manley as their farm director, and I still feel he could have ascended to become the number one person in Philadelphia from the farm position, because it seemed like the farm system was going forward as high as I heard 14, 15, and 16 just 2 years ago, and now we're looking at 28, 29, and 30. And I don't know Luke Morton, I don't know what his reputation is. It's just, watching the Iron Pigs, 30, 35 times a year, keep in touch with Reading. It just seems like the farm system the last 2-3 years has taken a really step backwards.
Yeah, and I gotta be honest, Jack. I mean, my last year calling games in Reading was 2019, and even going back then, the farm system was on its downward trajectory. So I think that's been a major piece of the reason. I think that the team has been slow the last 5+ years with Harper and ultimately Schwarber overlording. Bryce Harper turned this organization around. But he turned it around at the big level. And when we talk about teams that are successful, teams that do it the right way from top to bottom, the difference between the Phillies and a team like the Dodgers in terms of the National League is that those teams have really worked a top five farm system with young players that they should. The reason that the Brewers and the Dodgers are the ultimate giants compared to people is because they've got 7 to 9 top 100 prospects.
Yep.
With 3 of those guys, 4 of those guys still having top 50 scores. The last 10 to 15 years is that they just have not had a great farm system. So, like you said, for them, having a good year, being ranked inside of the top 15. But lately, you look at the rankings. I think Baseball America had them 28 out of 30. Those always change after the big season rankings come out, and then after the trade deadline. I mean, they're going to be a bottom 3 farm system when all is said and done. And depending on what happens after the deadline, they may look at what they have right now, 1 through 30, and there might not be a future solid big leaguer in that bunch. That's a scary prospect.
Yep.
Knowing what they dealt with after that 2018, after that run ended, you saw what the replacements looked like before Aaron Nola got there and then before Rhys Hoskins got there. Those were some dark years for the Phillies, and I think that a lot of people kind of saw how that movie played out and entered this current era, and that could be kind of hard in the next, let's say, 5 to 7 years after this current.
Yeah, I've told everybody my biggest disappointment of the year is Aiden Miller not getting on the diamond. And
Yeah.
it's crushed me because I've seen highlight films of him. I saw him play 3 times last year. He makes the plays at short. He stole 50+ bases. He was hitting over 300 in AAA for those 3 weeks. It's just a shame that he wasn't around to help the Phillies some way or other this year.
As a postscript to that, you see, his name escapes me, but their first round pick this year in the draft, high school kid
Yeah.
who missed his senior year because of
Some back problems.
Wait for it, a bad back. So, and he's still not healthy. So, well, in spite of what Scott Boras says, who's his agent, but yeah, that's people talk about, well, these baseball players always end up playing to the back of their baseball cards. That's true for hitters. Pitchers is a different story. They don't always play to the back of their baseball cards, particularly relief pitchers. They don't. They are up and down all the time, and a guy can be great one year. Next year he's pitching to a 5 or 6 ERA because the number of innings they pitch are so little. All it takes is 1 or 2 bad outings, and their season is shot. Whereas if you're a starter, you have a lot of innings, and you can absorb a couple bad outings.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Well, ask Greg a question, Bruce.
Yeah.
Besides Schoolbowl, who's the next best prize on the trade market for anyone? Any player, any pitcher. Tarek Schoolbowl, everybody talks about him. Who's the best second acquisition that any contending team could get? And I like that Washington shortstop very much.
Oh, Abrams.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree. Oh, I can agree. Last comment from you. You got about 2-3 minutes. Yankees getting the catcher, right-handed hitting catcher. he was on the Phillies' radar when they were talking about getting Bichette and getting rid of Bowman Realmuto. So that was in the off season. So it's going to be a busy couple of days, and then I think the NFL draft and the trade deadline on a certain day, whenever they have it, are my two favorite days of the year.
Yeah, trade deadline for us, that's probably the most exciting day of the year. Outside of opening day, I think opening day comes up with excitement, and I'm looking forward to Monday because I'll be hosting our MLB Network Twitter trade deadline special, which will air, I think, at 2 o'clock on either on X or Twitter or whatever. We're going to do that live. We got Money League Simon coming on, and we're just going to be reacting to what happens at the deadline. Because as you know, we're usually thinking that normally it's around the line of July 31st, Monday, August 3rd. It's going to be a great weekend for the next 3 days, and then Monday you're going to have that flurry of activity, and we'll finally answer the questions: who's buyers, who's sellers, and leaving those up for the next 2 months as Title 44.
And we'll give them a bunch of grades Monday night and Tuesday morning, A, B, C, D, Z, F. And Greg, so I'll have to turn Twitter on and keep in touch with you. I want to tell everybody, Greg Casuri has just been on from MLB Network. He does a great job, and a great friend of mine, and cut his teeth in Reading, and it's just done a great job. Congratulations on your stint with the Twins. You did a fantastic job, and and I think that would be a great spot for you going forward if the Twins become good.
Same here.
Thanks, Greg.
Likewise, Greg. Thank you for coming on.
Have a great day. Bye bye now. Greg is a great wealth of information.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that the Marlins are thinking about throwing in the towel. You know,
I think it's just one more step in the rebuilding
Well,
program, and Peter Bendix thinks
yeah.
they can get even better.
But if they get rid of some of their stars, the fans are going to, really be upset.
Yeah,
wait, that's right. They don't have any fans. So,
they have a few fans.
yeah.
They have a few fans. I gotta find. Gotta call our buddy up, Mr. McCallum, and gotta find his number here. I had it. Just called it last night. It should be on my Rolodex. There it is. I got it. Oh. Jack McCallum, Jack Logic, how are you?
Hey, Jeff.
Good, thanks for coming on for us for a half hour. We really appreciate it, Bruce and I do.
All right.
Yeah, we just had Greg Caserta on from the Major League Baseball Network. I don't know if you follow his work at all, but Greg's very informative. He used to be cut his teeth with the Reading Fighting Phils and has done numerous jobs, and he does a great job with the network. So it's that time of year again. It's 2 hours and 2 days and 8 hours to go, and it's going to be very interesting. So can we talk baseball with you, or you want to talk some NBA basketball? What NFL training camp? It's open to you. We'll talk anything that you want to talk about. We're just pleased to have you on.
Well, my baseball knowledge is not quite complete, but I certainly am outside of what we're talking about the Milwaukee Braves in 1957 and 58. I'm into it.
I'll talk to you about that. Joe Adcock at first base, Billy Bruton in center field, Wes Covington, Del Crandall.
Right.
I'm not even talking about Hank Aaron or Eddie Matthews, so I remember those days.
Yeah, their starting pick was Warren Spahn, Lou Burdette, Bob Buell,
Yes.
who had to be the worst hitting pitcher of all time.
Yeah.
He went 0 for 72 one year. I think he had 50 strikeouts. I was looking that up once.
And you won't like me right now. One name escapes me. That the old Milwaukee Braves basically were one of the first teams to have a real closer. What was his name? I forget now. In 57.
Oh, was it Ernie Johnson?
Yeah,
Remember Juan?
I'm thinking of a right-handed power pitcher in the
Bob
bullpen.
Rush? No?
No, I don't think so. We'll have to look that up. Maybe Bruce, with his phone while he's talking, he can look at the 1957, 1958 Brewer roster.
I can do that.
And that was quite a team. They went to the World Series 2 straight years against the Yankees, won in 57, am I right, Bruce, and lost in 58.
Yeah, they lost in 58, but they... Yeah.
Yes. No, not at all. You know, and the Braves are you still an Atlanta Brave fan or not? Or didn't you follow them down to Atlanta? Bruce?
Yeah, I'm just looking up this. You know who was on that staff was Gene Conley. Remember him?
Yes, he played baseball and basketball.
That's right. Played for the Phillies and the Boston. He was Bill Russell's backup. Yeah. Yes.
Can you go over that? Yes, he could. Could you go over their pitching staff?
Yeah,
I'll
I'm
name
looking
some
at it
names.
right. Here's two guys. One is Joey J, but I think he was like a part-time starter.
He was a fifth starter, and
Was it Don McMahon?
yeah, I think it was
Don.
Don McMahon.
Don
I think
McMahon,
Don
okay,
McMahon
that's-
was
yeah.
the closer.
Yeah.
I remember one of the first closers. That was a really exciting baseball team. It was in Milwaukee's heyday. So go all the way back to 1957. That's pretty good. Jack, are you still a Brave fan in Atlanta, or didn't you follow them once they left Milwaukee? Yeah. Maybe two if you get four.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We should tell our listeners you're listening to Jack McCallum, who closed his career at Sports Illustrated and was a writer for both the Bethlehem Globe Times and the Allentown Morning Call. And has been a good friend of Bruce for years, and a friend of mine, and always had time for me, and is very well versed in a lot of areas. And we're talking baseball right now because of the trading deadline. And Jack, I think one of the problems is if you look back on the last half dozen starts by Aaron Nola, I know he's given up his home run ball like he normally does, but they've been good starts. I think the bullpen is the culprit. I just think some reason the players don't go out when they have their fourth or fifth starters and hit. There's been some bad starts, don't get me wrong. but I think that's been the culprit. Like I said, timely hitting. The Phillies basically had a weird stat I just saw this week. They were fourth in driving runners in from scoring position, but they were also dead last on base percentage. So that means the Phillies hitters aren't getting on base. They're not taking walks. They're not hitting singles or doubles. So, they got to. Dave Dombrowski has a lot of things to think about in this deadline. And Greg Caserta, I think Bruce agrees with us. We're hoping that wasn't a showcase for Andrew Painter last night, because I still expect great things from him in the future. I don't know how you feel. Correct. Yeah, they have a couple. We recently mentioned Raymond Marquis,
Gage Wood.
They got some high draft choices from last year that are in clear order. I think one trade partner has been mentioned. We saw him twice this week pitch against the Phillies. Was a former Tampa Bay closer, Peter Fairbanks. Now, I don't think the Marlins would ask for an arm and a leg for somebody like that.
Especially since he has an ERA of
7.
7.
Yeah, but he pitched very well against the Phillies this week. I have no idea.
Yeah, he has a lot of saves and not many blown saves.
Right.
But his ERA is just
horrendous.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's the type of pitcher they could attract or what.
I mean, they already have guys like that.
Yeah. Well, I heard his name mentioned last week by Jason Stark, Hall of Fame writer from the Athletic, that there were a number of teams inquiring about him. Inquiring and what they would get for him is two different stories.
Would you trade him for a middle innings?
I just want a reliable 7th, 8th inning man. One way or the other.
Yeah.
And it's not like you said. Peter Fairbanks could be a real big question. I'm talking Peter Fairbanks' salary to the Phillies, and the Phillies give up a middle minor leaguer. I would not give it.
They have plenty of those.
Yeah, they got plenty of those. And the beauty is in the eyes of the beholder of the team making a trade, that they see somebody they like and maybe he can make a move. But like I said, I think after last night, middle relief, I think it's number one priority. And number 4/number 5 starting pitcher, and everybody wants a right-handed hitter. The right-handed hitters are hitting after the All-Star break. The 3 All-Stars, as you just mentioned, Jack, Harper's hitting 180. Schwarber only has 1 home run since the break. And Brandon Marsh is hitting like 135. And that's where their lineup was the first half of the year after Mattingly took over. Those guys were hitting, and now they're not. Yes.
Right.
Yes. In August. Yeah, they had lost a doubleheader at Three River Stadium. The story has it. And if you were on the outside of that other wall in the clubhouse when Dallas Green was going for his tirade. And after that, they woke up and played great ball in September and won the World Series, of course. And probably played in one of the best NLCSs ever against the Houston Astros. That was one classic.
Game 5 was the greatest game I ever saw.
Yeah. Yes. Well, here's one for you. Nobody's brought up, right? Dave Dombrowski, when he fired Topper, and replaced him, of course, eventually with Mattingly. But his top choice was Alex Cora, who's been known for his fire. Alex Cora said he wanted to take some time off, right? He's had 3 months off now. Would he dare fire the general manager's father and bring Alex Cora in for the last 2 months to light a fire under these guys? Yes.
Yeah.
He's not an elite player right now. We're hoping he becomes an elite player again. I'm not saying he's not a very good player. And the first 3 months, Harper played like an elite player, and this past month he has not. And I think that comment that Harper made the other day about needing arms and bats was true, but I think he should have put the comment at the end of the sentence and say, that's including myself. Yeah. They hit. Yeah, it seems like this recent in July either they hit and they give up a lot of runs like last night, or they don't hit and they lose 1-0 or 2-1.
Yeah.
And it's just very tiresome against really elite pitching, where the Phillies really the last 3 years have not hit elite pitching when they faced them regular season or postseason. Okay.
I was 2 days away from going to spring training for the Philadelphia Bulletin, which is a newspaper that
I read it.
three newspapers that I worked for. I got Bethlehem Globe Times, the Baltimore News American, and the Philadelphia Bulletin. And I got a job offer at Sports Illustrated, and I had to go the editor of the Bulletin, but I couldn't, 2 days before I'm headed to spring training. And I mean, the Phillies team back then was not, how to say that, not the Super Bowl. But I mean, this,
Plum assignments.
oh my God, you're talking, I mean, my mom was taught that I ascended to the hierarchy of honor system when I was, and I told him I couldn't do it, and he was mad.
Right.
I said, look, this is a break for you. I probably have been the worst baseball beat writer. I mean, that job, very, 162 games, you're at the ballpark, you go down at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, trying to get the money to talk to you before they get in the whirlpool. The season just goes on. You've got so many kids. I think that's what we have to remember, even as media people have been doing it half a century, that you do have to realize club stuff like the one the Phillies are in now. And it's hard, very difficult not to overreact.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, it's true.
You have to understand that if you're a good team, that you probably come out of it. It's just very difficult to live if you're a fan through it.
Well, you could also parallel probably the 1983 team that played in that for 4.5 months. The Weeds kids.
Right.
And they went on to win the National League pennant when Joe Morgan caught fire
Yeah.
in September. And
Wasn't that the year they fired
Yeah,
Pat Corrales
yes.
In the middle of when they were in first
I've
place?
told this story to my friends. If they're listening, they'll say, Jack's doing it again. Yeah, talking about beat writers, Jack, I think you're underselling yourself. I think you would have done a great job for the Philadelphia Evening Bulletin. And I think you would have been fantastic. But one of our other great friends, and Ted Meitzel, who became the beat writer from the Morning Call. You knew Ted, right? Yeah, Ted.
I didn't live in baseball playing kind of have to. I mean, I know there's guys like Jason Stark you mentioned. I know Jason very well. Peter Gavitt from the Boston Globe. And Ted was another version of that. It really got to be inside you. I was more of a basketball guy. I kind of found my place when I started covering basketball. It was a little bit more of my sport. But baseball still teaches you. It's still September and October. There's still something about it that really starts.
It's a fabric of your life, the way the seasons fall, like in the Northeast, that you have 7 days a week of following your team day in and day out. It's not like, winter that you have other things to do, other activities, and your team plays 3-4 times a week, or the NFL where your team plays once a week. But getting back to Teddy Meitzel, Teddy always said prospects are suspects until they arrive in the major leagues and do well. Teddy called me up in 1983. I was working at Eastern National Bank and Trust Company. Called me up. He says, Jackson, I'm headed to Philadelphia for a press conference. And the Phillies were in first place, and they just fired Pat Corrales. So I knew that. And one of my positions at the bank was when somebody had insufficient funds on their checking account or something, I had to go over to that department and give the checks back. So I saw my good friend Bill Davies, and I said, Bill, the Phillies fired Pat Corrales. He said, really? Okay, that was a conversation. There was a gentleman by the name of Glenn Steff. Glenn, if you're living, I doubt if you're listening, because Glenn was not a Philly fan or any kind of fan. Glenn Steff went up to the personnel department, HR, Human Resources, and asked the Human Resource Director, where does Pat Corrales work? I hear we just fired him. True story.
That's funny.
We just fired her. He thought Pat was a girl, and he had no
Oh,
idea.
that makes it even funnier.
Yes, that's the guy. Any of his relatives are listening, they're probably gonna say he just slammed you. I'll remember that story the rest of my life because Steve Barsony, who was the HR, he was also a Philly fan from Alpha, New Jersey, called me up. He says, "Did they really?" He says, "I just had Glenn up there asking me where she worked."
He must have got a big kick out of that.
He did. He said he couldn't keep a straight
That's
face.
a great story.
Yeah. So, Jack, before we let you go in the next 5 minutes, LeBron James signing with the Sixers. What do you think the outlook is? There's only one basketball. I remember back in 1977 when George McGinnis and Dr. J and Lloyd Free and a bunch of Doug Collins were playing for the Sixers, and they got to the NBA final, but couldn't win it. So what do you think for the next 2 years in Philadelphia for LeBron James?
Well, first of all, I don't know whether it will be 2 years. I think the second year is a player option. So I think that LeBron must be to look at the way the P League football has been about. But here's what I would say. We could all the dangers of this move and a possible downfall, which I won't gladly do. So if you were the Sixers, what I make this move. I mean, you have to do the move. You basically turn two draft picks and two Teddy sprays, prospects that are the prospects still proven otherwise. They turned two great to LeBron James and Jaylen Brown. One guy who's one of the Hall of Fame, and one guy who was an MVP candidate years ago. So you got to do the deal. I mean, if you're a franchise, it's a business. You got to do the deal. Now, can you figure it out? I worry mostly. I don't worry about LeBron and some guys. Maxey worships him. Maxey and LeBron have the same agent. They work out together in the summer. Maxey worships him. Ed Cone is not a ball heavy type of guy. He's going to figure out other stuff. He's going to rebound. He's going to facilitate. I do worry about it with Jaylen Brown because LeBron more and more as he gets older, and this happens to old players, they can't run the floor the way they used to. LeBron was a one-man fast break for 20 years, so they start posting up. They start going into the post. And not that LeBron can't be effective there, but Jaylen Brown kind of does that too. And then we have another guy there. Oh yes, Joel Embiid. I do worry about that slogging factor down in not to mention the fact that Jaylen Brown made a comment about LeBron's son, about Bronny James, in which he said, sort of, okay, this is now months ago, this is before the trade. But Bronny's name came up, and Jaylen said, he's not a pro. I think it was something like that. He's not a pro, which might be true. But don't mess with LeBron's family.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
No, it's gonna be.
They got some things to work out, and I don't think it's going to be that simple. I pity Nick Nurse, and good luck to him. But it's still a deal. Great, get LeBron James. I think you got to do it.
I think also it really gives the Sixers a lot of depth on the bench if they can play good basketball, and if they can get into the playoffs and win at least 2 rounds, and get to the Eastern Conference Finals against the Knicks or whoever. At least this year they'll have some kind of bench.
Yeah, I mean, I think the people that are most pissed off at this are probably the Knicks, because here's the team that came out of nowhere, did one of the greatest, playoff runs in history in kind of any sport, and all of a sudden they go into the 2016-17 season as almost like forgotten.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the Sixers have got not had all the headlines. Celtics must feel the same way. I mean, the Kings, good luck to them. I mean, they give away their best or second best player. Somebody, the Sixers have certainly taken all the oxygen
Yeah, I think one of the acquisitions that will pay a lot of dividends is that Dean Wade they got. That would have been the starting power forward. Now can come off the bench and they can play small when Embiid's out of the game. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Nick Nurse can cook up, basically.
They also have finally they also have a guy twice. They're the first team in history with a guy named LeBaron and LeBron was the
Yeah,
Yeah,
the first round draft pick.
and now they have Dean Wade and not Dwayne Wade.
You see that?
yeah.
A lot of similarities there. But it should be a fun time in Philadelphia. Let's hope it translates in wins and a long playoff run, even if they don't win it. So it's going to be interesting. And last but not least, we'll ask you about Carter's contract with the Eagles. He's going to get paid $38 million a year, but that won't start for 2 years. So he got a nice raise.
In a sport where people get hurt all the time. I know that's an impactful position, but seems like a lot of money.
It does.
Yeah.
I mean, they're smart guys. You know, we all know that their personnel evaluations pretty much are off. And so they must see, hey, this guy should be this kind of Reggie White 2.0. I haven't seen it for that much money, so I'll kind of hold bail until I think of it.
Okay.
Right now, it seems like a
Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. We'll do this again when Bruce gets here. And I hope you and your family are doing well. Everybody doing okay? That's fantastic. Tell everybody I said hi. And we'll do this again sooner than later this time, okay? Okay.
Okay,
Hey,
Jack. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah. Jack,
Bye-bye.
Jack McCallum was on with us. We should tell our listeners we're going to be on until 11:30 this morning. We're reversing our usual leadoff hitter, Jeff Achenzi, will be on with us next, talk some local sports. And our cleanup hitter, we moved down to the number 5 hole tonight. Bruce Nagy will close out the program at 11. So now we'll get a hold of Mr. Achenzi and talk to him a little bit. I hit the wrong button, Jack. I hit messages. That was not good.
Sounds like something I would do.
Yeah. Now, let's see what happens. Good morning. How are you?
good. Hey, I'm trying to text you. You do have audio issues.
Oh boy.
I don't know if your board is not on or if you're not connected to the computer, but I can hear you very clearly, and your guest is basically it sounds. I don't think you have either something connected correctly on your computer.
And what do you think that may be? It said start streaming, which I did.
No, nothing there. It would be a hardware thing. So, first of all, is your board on?
Yes.
Are both cables plugged into the?
Seems to be.
No. Did I do that? Yeah, I do. Yes, they're both plugged into the computer. Yes, they are. Yes.
Can you select the USB?
US.
Do that now. Double click on it, and it should give you.
USB would be. I got the picture of our sponsors, and USB would be.
Down in the center, it should say audio capture device.
Audio. Okay, I see that. Yes, I have that highlighted.
Yep, double click on that, and it should give you another window.
Okay, it has another black window. Has MacBook microphones.
Yep, nope, hit that and switch it to USB.
Hit MacBook microphones. Okay. Okay, hit US audio, right? And then hit OK, right?
And then hit OK. Yep.
Okay.
All right. Let me test it on. Let me just open up YouTube real quick.
Okay.
We should be fixed now.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to give you my mom's cell phone because I keep on looking at that if there's any problems from Denny or something. Some people text me there, and I really don't look at my cell phone because I have somebody connected. So that's my fault. I'm telling our listeners we had some great interviews. So hopefully we're okay right now.
Nope, it fixed it.
It
That
fixed
was
it?
the issue.
Okay, what did I miss that time again? Just tell me one more time.
It should be your step one. You didn't have the soundboard selected. You were using the microphone from the laptop and not your soundboard.
Okay.
I
Okay.
think that's step one on your directions. But anyway,
Last hour we will be completely okay, right?
correct.
Correct. Kick myself in the butt. So yeah, we've been talking a lot of Philadelphia sports, the Phillies and the Yankees, and different things right now with Jeff. And of course, trading deadline is 2 days and 7.5 hours away. So your thoughts on your Yankees?
Oof. Well, they're going to be buying as always. I'm interested to see where they go. I know they're on the road right now doing they were in Chicago for both teams. I believe it's one of the first times I ever remember that they were playing the White Sox and now the Cubs.
They didn't have to change hotels, probably.
Yeah. But yeah, they lost two straight games to the White Sox, both of those in extra innings. So, and you do wonder where they're going to go. Off the top of my head, I'm not quite sure, but I do know, as always, they will be buyers.
Yeah, everybody says they're looking for a right-handed catcher, right, Bruce? Right-handed
Yeah,
catcher.
I saw the first of those extra inning games, and that was a brutal loss. The catcher for the Yankees, there was 2 outs. A left-handed hitter was up, so the third baseman was playing. I think it was McCarthy was way over in the shortstop hole.
Yep.
And the catcher tried to pick the guy off third base, and he fired down. And the third baseman couldn't get there in time. The ball went down in the left field. They scored the tying run to send it in extra innings. I mean, if you would have held on to the ball and just got the guy, concentrated on the batter, they would have won the game.
Yeah, that was a game too. They scored 4 in the top of the first.
Yeah.
And then they didn't put anything else on the rest of the game. And yeah, that was one. You figure just focus on the guy at the plate, but yeah, Gary Sanchez, he sailed that one in the left. Well, like you said, he wasn't able to get over to cover the base, and catcher threw it into the outfield.
I mean, the throw wasn't bad; it was like right on the bag, but the third baseman was swung all the way over to the shortstop hole. He didn't know that they were going to try to pick they were going to try to pick the guy off, so he was late getting there. The ball just rolled into left field. And the tying run scored. So I don't know. To his credit, I'm trying to remember who the catcher was.
Gary Sanchez.
Was it Gary Sanchez? He took credit. He took full responsibility for he said it was my call. It wasn't called from the dugout. The pickoff attempt. He just thought he could just surprise the guy because I guess he was kind of nonchalantly going back to third base first couple pitches, and he thought he could just nab him real quick, surprise him, and it did not work out. So, but he took responsibility for it. He didn't blame the one of the coaches or the manager or the fan in row 3 or something. He took full responsibility for it. So, and and then they lost the next day, too, to extra innings. I don't think there was any play like that determined the outcome. But, the thing is, and we talked, Jack and I talked about this. The thing is, if you're going to have a bad stretch, you hitting a speed bump, now is probably the time to do it. What you don't want to do is, hit this kind of a stretch the first week in September. Because it doesn't leave you much time to, right the ship. Whereas now, the trading deadline's coming up. You could, of course, the Phillies don't have any prospects to bring up, but You can. There's time that you can. It's kind of like the fourth quarter in a basketball game. If the other team puts on a press and there's 3 minutes left and you're struggling, you're in trouble. But if it's early in the fourth quarter and they're doing that, at least you have some time to like adjust, reassess the situation, get your get your feet under you, and all that. But yeah. So this is the time. If you're going to go through a bad stretch, this is probably the time to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So anyway.
So Jeffrey, we'll see what happens in the next 2 days and 8 hours with the Phillies and Yankees and Tarrant School where he ends up at, and it should be an interesting couple of days and a half.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed. Yes, and we haven't talked to you since, one last thing. We'll go talk some local sports, of course, with you. We haven't talked to you since the Sixers acquired LeBron James. What were your thoughts on that?
Oh, well, I got it mostly through celebratory posts on Facebook. Just friends that were beyond excited. I thought it was very interesting that he kind of said that, he's going there to try to help that team. And you do wonder, I mean, they didn't fare well against the Knicks in the playoffs this year, but the East, I think, is very interesting now. I think that makes the Sixers definitely a very big contender to come out of the East now.
Yeah, it's going to be just fun. Of course, if it's if Philadelphia and New York can get in different brackets next spring and make that the conference finals, would make that a real exciting time in the Lehigh Valley, because we live so close to New York City and we live just as close to Philly, so that could make
that would be a very interesting, and they never really peaked at the same time. A very interesting rivalry that you could have if the Knicks and the Sixers would both get really good at the same time, because that was a major issue or storyline in this past year's playoffs, was Philadelphia trying to keep the New York fans out of the building, because for most of the playoffs, as we saw, it was cheaper for the Knicks fans to travel on the road than to try to get a ticket at the Garden. But if that became a hot ticket for Philadelphia as well, that could make for a really fun rivalry.
Yeah, it really could. Like I said, last 2 seasons, the Knicks have beat the Sixers, and Exmo is a nickname. The Xfinity Mobile Arena in Philadelphia has had, I would say, 60 to 70% New York fans in it, and it doesn't make it any easier for the Sixers have any kind of home court advantage. So
yeah, I mean, and that I'll be honest, that was something that I did growing up. Most of the Knicks games that I caught were at the old Spectrum, and it was just it was. And I'll tell you what, I had plenty of company those nights, the early '90s, doing that down there, and in a way, it was a much cheaper ticket living in the Lehigh Valley to go see him in Philly than to see, try to get into the Garden.
Yeah, Madison Square Garden, a mecca, great place to go to watch a game. So there should be exciting times, like I said, in Philadelphia in the winter. We got the NFL training camps have just opened, and spring everybody's optimistic. Is your wife optimistic about the Baltimore Ravens or not?
She always is. I say, actually, we'll turn our attention to football now. Actually, so I'll have to see what she thinks. And the Giants, we have no idea. We'll see what. From what I hear, Malik Neighbors will not be ready beginning of the season. In fact, I think I saw they designated him for I think it's still called the PUP list.
Yes.
Yeah, but so we'll have to see, but. Because there were definitely people were excited with Scadaboo and Dart and Neighbors, what they could do maybe in together again, but they have to obviously get everybody healthy first.
Yeah, Scadaboo's back, but he was doing backflips and everything else, so you better watch himself. John Harbaugh's not going to be too happy with the extracurricular activities, as you want to call them.
Yeah.
And
like Harrison Bader on the scooter,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was something. He's not getting paid right now. Former Philly and former Yankee Harrison Bader, who really gave the Phillies a shot in the arm last year after the trading deadline. He's hitting 143 for the Giants.
Is that right? They're not paying him?
Yeah, because he did something
that's not.
team related.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he probably had a couple adult beverages and decided to play with the fire engines with his.
That's what he ran
motorbike.
into was a fire truck,
Yes,
right?
yes.
I was like, I forget way back who was the one they eventually figured out. I think he was playing basketball in the driveway with his kids, and like twisted an ankle or whatever, and it eventually, it ended up, there was the clause in his contract, and while he was injured, he wasn't paid. That was a baseball pitcher a number of years back.
Yeah, Ronnie Gant, remember him?
Yes.
He had he was driving a moped or something in the off season, and he crashed, and he dislocated his shoulder and was out for like half the season. They didn't pay him, until he got back off the then the disabled list they called it.
Yeah.
But there's all kinds of stuff like that.
Jim Longberg, who was a star pitcher for the best Boston Red Sox when they won it in 1967, American League title. He was like a 20-game winner, and then that offseason he had a skiing accident.
Yeah.
And he came back to be a decent major league pitcher, but never what he was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, did he get paid for the time that he was
I'm not
out?
sure back then or not how
Yeah.
tough things were, like I said, with those reserve clauses and all that.
Yeah.
So, Jeff, the fall sports seasons will be opening up very soon. We're about 2 weeks away, am I correct?
Yeah, they should get to those. Football is the only one that has the heat acclimation days. But, everybody else about 2 weeks. Everybody's been together most of the summer. I know I saw cross country was just together. Easton wasn't there, but there was just a really good 7-on-7 camp up at East Stroudsburg University. Friend of the program over there at Bridgewater Raritan, they were at it, our friend Kyle. But they played Notre Dame Green Pond. That was one of the teams that they faced up there. And he texted me and asked if I knew anything, and I said we don't see them. Different league, different classification.
They can throw the football. I know that.
Yeah.
Yep. And I saw early. I don't know. Actually, I can tell you which press. I have two things open for you. But one of the early rankings had Easton was coming in ranked 14th in the state. That would be. Oh, this was This was Rivals. So that's a recruiting website. But they had there were 9 Whipple teams in the top 25, and had Easton was the highest out of District 11 at number 14. But that'll be interesting to see, though, because as we know, the lineup will look very different this year than last year. So I already sort of said I'm not sure if Easton would, expectations are always high among the fan base, but you do have to wonder, is that, maybe a little too high given the fact that, you're only looking at 2 to 3 starters returning from last year.
Was it last year? I think it was last year where Emmaus was picked very high in preseason rankings.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we know what happened to Emmaus last year. They really took a step back. So I really don't know how they base things on. I know they can base it on the previous year. Easton had a great 14-1 season. But if you look at returning starters, there's only 3 returning starters. So you do any kind of homework. I hope they're right and I'm wrong.
Yeah, I said high school. You never know. I know Liberty one year, the third year in their state finals run there. The year they didn't make it, the 3 out of the 4, they started that year, I think, number 1 in the state, and they went down that opening game to North Penn and took it on the chin. And I think they barely made it into the playoffs that year, and they exited in the first round at East Stroudsburg South. So. You never know, exactly where these rankings are. But then obviously the following year, Liberty, they win a state title. So, things are different. Kids move, different things. But yeah, Easton, like I said, some of the skill players are there, and some of the ones that we didn't get to talk about a ton last year have been waiting in the wings.
to step in there at the wide receiver and running back position. And the offensive line, they were definitely able to go platoons last year, switching guys in and out, not just the 5 starters who were excellent. But I do think, offensive line especially, they're going to be able to, have a pretty formidable front line, even though they might just be first-year starters.
Yes, like I said, that's the biggest need right now. I've heard in the offseason that late Yahya McGurn's son has done a nice job on 7-on-7s in the preseason with the passing. They had one with Nazareth the other night, so he's looked pretty well. So have the other skill positions. Some of those freshman running backs look very good, I hear, and they'll be sophomores this year.
Yeah, I mean, and that's, obviously that's the position a lot of kids coming in the height, the kids that want to be running back, they're going to line up to play at Easton. And it sounds like we saw that last year, getting a chance to look at Amin Fadine, freshman, how they were trying to work him into the offense. And now he doesn't have to sit behind 2 or 3 great running backs. So he could get a little bit more of the focus. And, Juck Kossover, they try to get him on the field as much as possible. And he went everywhere from, a tight end position to an H-back position to a slot receiver. I mean, he will, be tried to be on the field as much as possible. And they're going to have the deep ball threat with Sean McPeak, who I did see was named, I think he was Service Electric's spring athlete of the male spring athlete of the year on the lacrosse field. But we talked about how, dangerous he is on the football field as well.
Yes, it'll be an integral part, and it wouldn't surprise me Coach Matt Seneca put some packages in for him at quarterback inside the red zone here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Easton, of course, has an ambitious schedule. They open up in Doylestown August 28th against the Bucks of CB West, and then the following week they play another division power. They weren't last year, but they're optimistic this year, I hear. At Pennsbury at home, that will be the home opener on September 4th. So, and then they face preseason favorite, of course, by Valley Publications, Parkland in an independent game, September 11th, Bruce. So.
What's Parkland supposed to have back there?
Parkland Freedom are the 2 teams I hear are the best teams in the Valley. But again, we'll see, right, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, Parkland year in and year out is going to be there. I mean, they were in the district finals again last year. So Vansman up there is probably just going to keep that machine running. But, I mean, that'll be a nice test, for Easton going, especially if things look good after the first 2 games. But, Jack, I feel like we've said this the last 2 or 3 years. They could come out 3-0. They could come out 0-3, and neither of them would really surprise us.
No, not at all. I think, Bruce, I think the turning point in Easton's season last year was Game 3 against Erasmus Hall from Brooklyn. Do you agree, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was the one they saw how good they could be. I think that was one that also really showed them that if they played as a team, they could beat almost anybody. And because the way Erasmus Hall came out, they obviously had the talent on the field. But once Easton saw that their strategy, their teamwork, and their conditioning could wear down a team, I think that gave them a world of confidence going into the ETC schedule. And you could see a similar thing this year with Parkland. Now, Parkland is going to be coming into Cottingham, but they are going to want a huge matter of payback because, Easton absolutely went in and handled them in the district final last year, a way that Parkland hasn't been beaten too often in the Lehigh Valley. So I think Parkland would love to come in and, show Easton in Cottingham Stadium that they're still the top dog in the Valley.
Yeah, Bruce, Phillipsburg is opening with 3 East Penn Conference teams this year.
Yes, yeah. I've heard that. Parkland is one of them, isn't it?
Yeah, they open against Parkland opening night.
Right.
Same night Easton plays Pennsbury, and Parkland comes east 2 straight weeks. They come to Maloney Stadium on September 4th and Cottingham Stadium September 11th.
Okay. Do they play, I want to say Northampton?
No, Emmaus and Freedom.
Emmaus and Freedom. I was thinking Northampton because I remember I'd heard that they tried to get Northampton because that was traditionally
Yes,
their season opener for a lot of years when Northampton was in the old Lehigh Valley League. But I guess apparently that never came to fruition. But yeah, I'm glad to see that they're playing some teams from. They had that what was it? That 65% rule.
Right.
Where, yeah,
Relaxed.
That was, yeah, right. They relaxed that, and they were able to pick up those East Penn Conference, opponents. So that's good. That should, bode well for them, in the league that they're in, because they're playing some teams now that are different than the ones that they used to play when they were first in the Skyline Conference.
Right, and they were locked into those teams.
Yes, exactly.
Good or bad.
Yes, right, exactly.
They had some softies and they had some tough games. So it's going to be interesting, Jeff, as the year goes on, to compare compatible scores, for Thanksgiving Day, which is a long way off. We don't want to think about Thanksgiving yet, but it's going to be a lot of fun. So, all right, you want to talk about
the transition, Jack?
Go ahead.
I was going to say, you were just talking about later in the year, and I did see the official thing earlier this week. I guess as the calendar turns today, now as far as everything school concerned, we are the 26-27 school year now.
Okay.
And there's going to be 10 new teams joining AAA for wrestling.
Okay. Bishop McCourt is
one. The one that we knew was Bishop McCourt, and so we knew that's out there in District 6. That won't really affect Easton other than in the team state tournament and the individual tournament. So we won't see them in our region. In our region, two of the teams that are going to be coming in, three teams that are coming in, Berwick will be joining AAA out of District 2. Shamokin, although they will be joining the Northeast region from District 4. And then Simon Gratz will be coming out of District 12 in Philadelphia. So those are three teams that'll move up to AAA, and they will come through Liberty High School in the regional tournament. There were a few, Jack, I did see drop down out of District 2. I know Athens is no longer up in AAA. They're going to be down in AA again. And I think I saw there was another one from up in District 2. But the schools are all together that are coming up. Big Spring, they're back up in AAA. District 3. District 3 also has Northern Lebanon moves up and Ole Valley moves up, so they're both going to be AAA now as well. District 1, AAA continues to get bigger, biggest in the state. Lower Moreland is going to be now AAA, joining Upper Moreland. And Pope John Paul II, they're going to be moving up to AAA. And last but not least, District 9, where you guess is as good as mine, and that is going to be Bradford.
Okay. Well, a few teams we'll see with new uniforms when we get out the states and not recognize them.
Yeah, I mean, that's usually how, and it's usually that way at regionals, too. Some years I'll see them. Like Athens was was new, and they're back down. But I always thought that was a really tiny school, so to see them up in AAA for regions was very interesting. But, yep, so there's definitely going to be a few that we're going to have to keep our eye on as a singlet that I'm not going to know off the top of my head.
So that will be coming up in November. I guess other fall sports, KCX Rovers are going to be young, but she will field a competitive team. I expect her to be the top 3 or 4. Bobby Joe Powell's cross-country team, always up there. So you'll have a long broadcast schedule in the fall. We'll have some extra live events. We'll try to get the Easton Phillipsburg freshman JV football doubleheader on, and we'll see what we can do with the rest of the games. Well, of course, we'll do every home and away game of the Easton football schedule, and we'll try to have, you said you worked something out with Brooklyn Mountain East right now, that we hope to have that Thursday night game to as many people as we can get it to.
Yeah, that's going to be super exciting. I mean, at this point, all the obstacles have been cleared except for one, and that's technology. But no, they were very receptive. To us coming up for that Thursday night game. They're going to, open up the cameras for us so that we're going to be able to bring that game up in Swiftwater, and that game's going to be free. So that's the other part of it that's kind of, really exciting for us is not only do we get a chance to bring the game back down to the Lehigh Valley on a Thursday for people that, don't want to travel, but the fact that it's going to be able to, we're going to stream it on YouTube and our Rovers network for free that night. We're really hoping to see if we can get a statewide audience and how many people can tune in. And the idea last year we did this, it was very early, but when we went down the Spring Ford, we did it similar, and we had over 4,000 people tune in that night. So we'll have to see with a Thursday night and not a lot, not a ton of options. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what our audience will look like that night.
Yes. Anything you want to add in the last minute or two before we let you go? And thanks for improving my signal.
No, let me see. That's about it. I hear the baseball stadium's coming along. If by November or so, Matt's telling me he'll get a update. If things are looking good there, they will add those 2 new cameras to the baseball and softball field. So that'll bring at least another 20 contests to the network. And as they're doing that, they're trying to get me. It's still hopeful, but trying to get me my soccer and field hockey cameras, and that would bring all the boys and girls soccer, field hockey, and girls lacrosse, so another 50 or so. But I want to get up to over 300 broadcasts this year, but I might have to wait till next year.
250 is a modest goal, okay?
It's still the most that Huddle says. Our 244 last year is still the most that they really ever saw, but I always have to figure out a way to top it, and if we can, I won't settle until I'm on a golf cart streaming golf. but other than that, like I said, I always, like I said, every sport deserves it, and so if it's up to me, we'll stream chess as soon as it's available.
Okay, Jeffrey, I hope you have a good day, and thanks for updating my board.
I can finally go to sleep. We slept at Coca-Cola Park last night and had to start tearing down the tent at 6:30 this morning, so I am exhausted.
Okay, you'll get the reward all state dad.
Yeah, I try my best, guys.
Okay.
Okay, Jeff.
Have a good night now. Good
talking to you.
Sweet dreams.
Right.
Jeff Achenzi, and we'll give Bruce Nagy a call to close out things. Remember, we're going to be on till 11:30 this morning. Going to give Bruce a call right now. We're not done yet. And we'll give Bruce a call. Getting closer to Bruce's phone number. Yes, there we are. That should work.
Good morning, Jack.
Good morning. How are you?
Well, we're fine. Allie, the cat, and I are sitting here on the couch waiting for you to call, and we're both doing fine.
That's good. And I got Bruce here. He's purring too.
Well, that's good. Hi, Bruce.
Bruce, great to talk to you again.
Yep, thank you. Same, likewise.
Yes, after I talked to you last night, our Phillies did their usual job and didn't persevere in the 7th, 8th, or 9th innings. So they're on a streak. Going south.
It was a concerning week in that, coming off the All-Star break in such a positive light, and then just, basically not falling apart, but really struggling in all areas. And then when your best pitchers fall apart also, even though they've been great all year and they're allowed not to have a good game, but when Zach Wheeler gets blown up after 3 innings, and your closer, who's been near perfection, really struggles, and then Luzardo loses his 6-0 lead, and Kerkering, who's done a nice job this year, gets blown up by the Orioles last night. It really shows his struggles. To me, along with all of that, though, the main struggle is the offense really, since day one, has been sporadic. last night. Okay, they were winning 4-2, but they have 4 hits when they, or 5 hits. I mean, the team hasn't really hit consistently all year long, other than home runs at times. So, right now they're, in a wild card situation where not out of nowhere, but all of a sudden the San Diego Padres, who have a lot of talent like the Phillies do, have come on, and they're lurking a game behind the Phillies. And I guess the question is right now, will the Phillies even make the playoffs? I mean, I think it's a good question. And now we're back to 8 games behind the Braves. Not that was a consideration as far as winning the East, but they were in very comfortable wild card position, and now they are not.
Yeah, Bruce.
And I don't know. The team looks old.
Yeah.
The team looks old.
Yeah.
Bruce Verratti and I talked earlier, drew comparisons between 1980 and 1983, where they didn't play good baseball till late August and then turned it on in September. Of course, the 80 team won it all, and then the 83 team, the Weeze kids, which got to the World Series, and don't know if this team can do this. And like I said, took Dallas Green for rating them in Pittsburgh years ago. Took Paul Owens to come down to the dugout. I don't know what the answer is. I just, we've seen too much. Like I said, if there's too many teams that can go past them for the wild card, it's just so imperative. Every day it changes, and last night it changed that their number one need is 2 more bullpen arms, no matter how, probably one righty and one lefty somehow get them, Bruce.
Well, I don't know where they all come from. I'm not quite sure that the trade deadline is going to mean anything. I mean, really? A bunch of guys from the Blue Jays who haven't performed are going to come in and everything's going to change? I don't know. I mean, I mean, it's one thing to, turn it on. And hey, look, everybody's up in the Houston Astros, who have basically been mediocre all year, are still mediocre, 1 game over 500 in a Western division of the American League, where the second place team and the third place team are under, or 500 or under. So, it's hard to say. All I know is I don't know where somebody can reach into some trade thing and say, okay, this is going to be the answer, a lefty and righty bullpen guy. Well, if a lefty or righty bullpen guy's out there, that means that he hasn't been very good for where he's been, has he? So all of a sudden he's going to come to Philadelphia and just all of a sudden he's going to get good?
Yeah, Bruce, that's a great point. In fact, I was just going to bring that up. The trading, everybody makes a big deal about the trading deadline, and they should. It's sort of interesting, part of baseball, but really the transactions that people make in the long run really don't have. They might get good players who continue to play well in the time that they have till the rest of the season, but even if they're good, they really don't make that much of an impact. Now, we could go back to last year with the Phillies getting Duran. That was a major had a major difference, I think, in the Phillies, because he was not only good, but he filled a need in their bullpen. But I don't think the Phillies, or really anybody else, for the most part, can depend on changing around the fortunes of their team for the reasons, because one guy, I mean, you're talking 26 players. You may not get the guy you want. You may not. I mean, the Phillies have 3 needs, and Jack just recounted them all. Hitting, pitching, the back part of their starting rotation, and also some bullpen pieces before they get to Duran. I don't think the Phillies are going to be able to fill all 3 of those. In fact, they may be lucky to fill 2 of those needs. I know Dave Dombrowski is considered in some quarters as a true magician, but he's got to be a real magician to pull off all the things that the Phillies need. I think if he gets one or two bullpen pieces, which I think is their biggest need, I think he's doing well. But like I say, I mean, he's not afraid to take risks. I think if he wants to take one this year, it's going to take probably trading Andrew Painter and or Justin Crawford. And maybe even if not those two, probably Gage Wood. Aiden Miller he's probably not going to play this year. So I don't know what the rule is on this. You can't trade an injured player, can you? Is that,
I think you can.
Even if he's going to be out for the rest of the year?
Yeah, I think you can.
Okay.
I don't think you can. You can't trade a draft choice. Okay. But
okay.
no, I mean, Aiden Miller can be traded. It's just obviously somebody would have to take a shot at that. Ned Colletti, the former general manager of the Dodgers, who actually did a really good job under circumstances of an awful ownership situation here in L.A. He wound up getting Manny Ramirez and getting the Dodgers into the playoffs. But he made it. I was listening to him on the radio coming home from work yesterday, and he made an interesting thought. He said, as a general manager, you think about everything. But he said one of the things that always not bugged him, but concerned him. Let's say you had a player that was doing okay, but not, maybe playing up to their potential. And a team would call and say, hey, we're interested in that player. And then he said, I would think, instead of thinking, okay, great, I can get rid of this guy, his thought was the opposite. He said, okay, what do they see in him that we don't?
Mm-hmm.
What are they seeing that they can develop this guy into a stronger player that we're not doing? Why do they want him and we kind of want to get rid of him? And he said, that's just one of the craziness about being a general manager of all of a sudden you're like, why are they calling about him?
Yeah. I've heard Pat Gillett give an interview once when he was general manager of the Phillies, and he was saying that several times he made trades, just the ones that you just mentioned, and that is a general manager will call him and say, look, I know this guy's not having a great year, but we're kind of interested in him. Would you be willing to trade him for a guy that's going through a similar circumstance with us in the hopes that just a change of scenery will help both players? And he said, a couple times I've done that, and it has worked out for both of us. So he said he's not willing to just throw in the towel on a player because, it's kind of like there's somebody out there. There's 30 teams out there. And if a guy's having a rough go of it, there's always going to be somebody out there who's going to take a flyer on him. It may not work out, but they'll try. So, that's it was just interesting that you brought that up, Bruce, because that's, I'm sure that happens quite a bit, scenario that you're talking about.
I think it's like beauty in the eyes of the beholder.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think, you have all kinds of scouts. You have the Major League Player draft, and there may have been somebody in the third round that you thought you might have gotten, and he went 2 picks before you.
Right.
And all of a sudden this player is not excelled to the way the parent team wanted him, but you still saw something 2 years before that or 3 years that you fell in love with the player, and you think you can get a lot out of him.
Right.
That's the kind of trade a lot of people make.
Yeah.
Right. Well, the big talk here is Skubal, Terrence Skubal, okay? And that's, will the Dodgers, who have a loaded farm system along with a loaded major league team, will he, it is considered here, Milwaukee, and Tampa Bay. And you're saying to yourself, okay, why do Milwaukee and Tampa Bay want him? Because they're not going to be able to give him the contract that he wants. Well, they don't really care. Both those teams have been very close. Of course, we tend to forget they both make the playoffs every year. Then all of a sudden, maybe some of their youth and their players in a shorter series don't come through. But they all feel, Milwaukee and Tampa Bay feel, they could be a Tarek Skubal away from winning it all, and Milwaukee feels that guy could be the one that gets them past the Dodgers in a 7-game series, even though we have no plans to sign him past this year. So that's the thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. All three teams you mentioned, the Dodgers and the Rays and the Brewers, all have great farm systems, and they have to be the leaders in the clubhouse to get Skubal. And it's going to be really interesting. I asked Greg Caserta from MLB Network. He thinks Mason Miller might be the second one, but one of the best available players. But, of course, the Padres are playing well right now. And you never know what A.J. Preller is going to do, their general manager. When you expect him to buy, he sells. When you expect him to sell, he'll buy. So that's their wild card team in the equation. They could go after him. They could go after him too.
The Padres. Jack, you've been there. I mean, the Padres have a terrific fan base, along with a wonderful stadium, absolutely wonderful stadium, and they sell out almost every game, every night of the week. And they're the ones actually that came up with the slogan maybe 15 years ago, where Saturday was baseball night in America. They called it baseball night in San Diego. And if I'm one part of their fan base and they finally have their act together, I mean, they're paying a lot of money to a lot of very good players, and they finally have their act together and they're winning. Why are you going to give up Mason Miller?
I agree.
Why?
Yeah.
Right, so they could be just the opposite. They could keep Mason Miller, and their farm system still has depth. They could go after Skubal and really raise heck in a best-of-5 playoff and anybody they open up with. That's why the Phillies still have a chance to be good in the postseason with their 3 stud starting pitchers. If there are 3 all-star left-hand hitting position players, Brandon Marsh, Bryce Harper, and Kyle Schwarber, Bruce, thank you, start hitting. They all have been horrific in the month of July.
I know.
And last night, Bruce, Andrew Painter, Bruce and I both gave him a B+. I thought he pitched very, very good. JT said his changeup was fantastic. He wasn't afraid going after hitters.
His curveball was the best I've seen it.
Yeah.
Probably even when he was in AAA. He always struggled with his curveball. If not to prevent people from hitting it, from getting the pitch over the plate. And he was, I'll bet 3/4 of the curveballs he threw were either hit, weakly, fouled off, or just missed completely, or were taken for a strike by the hitters. So that was an encouraging sign, more than the numbers. It's just the fact that he got his curveball over consistently.
Yeah, my brother saw him. I told Jack last night. My brother saw him pitch in Indianapolis like 10 days ago.
Yeah.
Against the Indianapolis Indians.
Was that the game he gave up 7 runs in 2 1/3 inning?
No, he pitched great.
That was a great game.
He
okay.
Lost 2-1.
Oh, okay, right.
And he pitched 6 innings, and my brother said that he was really impressive because the Indians I don't know how good they are, but they have a pretty good offensive team. And he said Painter was quite good. He was really good. So. Yeah,
it's just been a odd week. We can maybe retrack it back to 1964, odd week that the Phillies scored runs on Monday night against the Marlins. Their bullpen was outstanding that night. 5 innings of 0 runs after Wheeler got torched early, and then your closer lost the game. And then Aaron Nola pitches 1-run ball for 5 2/3 innings similar to what Painter did last night.
Right.
They lost both their outings. Jesus Luzardo, who had 8 straight good outings with 2 runs or less and 6 innings or more, has a 6-0 lead and lose it. The parallels of 64, like if anything can happen this week, it has happened. Bruce, got to ask you this question. Most of the people agree that the Phillies should not trade Andrew Painter right now. I hope that was not a showcase because they, after watching last night, I'm very, of course, I'm optimistic that he can be the pitcher the Phillies thought he was going to be, and I don't think you would get the value that you were supposed to get for him. And we all remember, back in 1965, I guess it was, when the Phillies traded Ferguson Jenkins to the Cubs.
Yeah.
And, for 2 pieces, Larry Jackson, who won 17 games, and Bob Buell.
And Adolfo Phillips.
Adolfo Phillips was in that trade. So Dave Dombrowski's in a very interesting position right now to do or not to do.
Well, and along with, when we look again at the wild card, you still got, there's really very few teams that are going to trade people. Now, if you're the Toronto Blue Jays, who still have quite a bit of talent, are you going to give after, coming within an inch of winning the World Series last year? Are you going to, blow up the season, and maybe they will, but do you trade Painter to Toronto for George Springer and Jeff Hoffman? No. And no. Oh, by the way, Toronto, it just shows you about players, and the name escaped. The player, terrible. The young player that they signed to a big contract last year. My goodness, why can't I remember his name? It's terrible. Anyway.
Was that with Toronto?
In Toronto. He got the big contract. He's one of their star players. And my age is
shortstop? Was it their shortstop that you're thinking of?
Yeah. Anyway, his father was a really good. Is it not Guerrero?
Not talking about Varsho, right? Dalton Varsho.
No. Anyway, he's not hit a home run. He's not hit a home run at home this year. Okay.
Wow.
And I'll find it. I'll find it as soon as I get my glasses on here and look up. I can't remember. It just shows you your
Bruce
old.
is going to get the present Blue Jay roster up and see if there's any familiar names on there that we can put. But anyway,
I think I know who you mean, but I can't think of his name either, Bruce.
Like I said, last night was either a great showcase for Andrew Painter, or it's going to be a pretty good, dependable starter maybe for the rest of the year as number 4, number 5 for the Phillies. Because I honestly, it changes every day for me what I need. And after watching the last 2 bullpen games, I'm in on the bullpen first and the other 2 parts second and third.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't figure out why the Phillies cannot hit. The Phillies have the 4th best percentage of driving people in scoring position, but they're last in the major leagues, 30th in on-base percentage. So it's just, it's really, really interesting right now. And
you're not thinking of Jimenez, are you? Andres Jimenez?
My computer's my computer. I'm sounding like a total idiot here.
No, don't feel that way.
No, don't feel that way at all.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Vladdy was.
Yeah, they signed him. They signed him to a huge contract, and yesterday because they were talking a lot about the Blue Jays as far as being trading partners for a lot of teams, and George Springer's been mentioned and all that, and of course Jeff Hoffman and Varsho. But the comment was made about Guerrero Jr. has not hit a home run in Toronto.
He only has 6
at all this year.
6 for the year.
What's he hitting?
265.
Well, what a
he made the All-Star team
Yeah.
as a starter.
Yeah.
How the heck did that happen?
Name recognition.
Yeah, I'm sure that maybe they were thinking of Vladimir Guerrero Sr. Maybe that's who they thought they were voting for.
Well, let's face it, a lot of players, especially when, this fan voting, which
Yeah.
is nice and all that stuff. But I can remember when they first announced the fan voting, and when I used to go to a lot of Dodger games, I could have gotten 50 ballots. They used to hand the
Right.
paper ballots out,
Yeah,
and how many do you want?
right.
Yeah, punch
Yeah.
the holes in the little
Kind of like a Russian election,
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Uh,
Okay.
Bruce, let's talk a little NFL with you over the last 8 minutes or so. Jalen Carter got a big time extension. Won't kick in for 2 years because the last 2 years of his rookie contract will still be there this year and next year. Yeah, only thing worries me there is the maturity part, of course, at his. And, of course, is there going to be enough money next year, to make sure you keep Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean?
Well, you obviously you think about the present and the future, but the Eagles are in a win now mode. I mean, they have a good roster of veterans and younger players, but this is a big year, especially on the offensive side of the ball for a lot of people. And I don't worry about Howie Roseman. They're not going to let Mitchell go. They will find the money for him, and Cooper. They'll find the money for Cooper. Believe me, they will. And it's I don't have a problem with that. My concern right now, and this injuries. Jonathan Grenard. I know a lot of people. Whenever they an MCL tear, an Achilles tendon. Obviously, we know how serious those injuries are. But whenever I hear pectoral something,
Scary
I tend
shit.
to forget.
Yeah.
When somebody tears a pec, they're done for a year.
Yep.
Now he's got a strain, okay, and okay, it happens. But that's a guy that the Eagles are depending an awful lot on, and may not even be ready to start the season. But and they have to be careful on that. But whenever I see a pectoral anything, I'm like, oh,
Yes.
I really,
Especially if
and we
they're-
can- Yep,
Especially if they're offensive or defensive linemen. That seems to be
exactly.
It's
Yep.
That's like an ACL for a running back.
Right,
you know.
exactly.
So, yeah, I think the same way, Bruce. I see that injury, and I think right away, that's it. He's done for the year.
Right. And
people always say, "Well, that's
and-
his arm." What's that mean? It's a big deal for an offensive and defensive lineman because they're always
Using their hands.
Yeah, you're always in their hands
Hands
too.
and arms. Yeah.
And obviously this is a big year for Jalen. But, in fact, Brady Quinn was talking about this yesterday. They were talking, he and LeVar Arrington and Jonas Knox, about the Eagles. And Brady Quinn mentioned, do you realize, he goes, as a former quarterback, he had one offensive coordinator at Notre Dame for all the years he was there. And then he went to a lot of different teams, which he didn't play very well for, or he was backup. But he mentioned, he goes, do you realize that Jalen Hurts from college to today has had a different offensive coordinator basically every year? And that's important. And, of course, everybody's falling all over Sean Mannion at this point. So I'm sitting here saying, I hope the Eagles' offense is really good in the 1 year that Sean Mannion is the offensive coordinator, because next year he's going to be the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals or somebody. That's the way it goes these days. That's a lot of do you notice the people other than Mike McCarthy in Pittsburgh, a lot of these teams are going for younger guys who met, everybody's looking for the next Sean McVay.
Yep.
And things like that, who became a head coach at like 32. So, not to be snarky, but I hope the Eagles offense is really terrific, and I hope Sean Mannion is as good as everybody says he is. But if he is as good as everybody says he is, he's there for 1 year.
Well, and if he's bad, he'll either get fired
Yeah.
or get demoted with the Eagles.
Right.
So Jalen Hurts will have another offensive coordinator next year.
Right.
You
Right.
know?
Here's hoping the Eagles win the Super Bowl with their great defense.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
An
if
adequate
it comes
offense.
to that, hey, I'm okay with that. I mean,
Right.
it works for me.
Yeah, you look at Shane Steichen and, of course, the young man in New Orleans who did a great job last year.
Yeah, well, it just shows you, though. Kellen Moore was fired in Dallas and was basically fired here
Yes, in San
in his
Diego.
1 year with the Chargers.
L.A. Chargers, excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody, I thought he was unfairly fired. For whatever reason, the head coach doesn't get blamed in Dallas when their offense has always been pretty good. And I don't know why, but that happened. But that's a Cowboy problem. But yeah, I mean, and Shane Steichen, let me tell you something. He better get the Colts to the playoffs this year. 'Cause now last year they were 8-. Now when Daniel Jones went down, they were 8. People forget they were 8-2.
Yeah.
Then they didn't win a game again.
Yeah.
Sounds like
Mm-hmm.
the Eagles under Rich Kotite when Byron Evans went down.
Rich Kotite. Hey, Jack, do you remember back in because we went to the game on one of your bus trips, and Buddy Ryan came back with the Cardinals. Buddy Ryan, the most overrated head coach in Eagles history. That's my opinion. Anyway,
I concur.
And the Eagles won.
Yes, I do too.
The Eagles.
Three of us.
The Eagles won. That guy had so much talent and squandered it. Anyway, and the Eagles won that game. Rich Kotite, his first year, Buddy, back in Arizona with the winner. Now you got a winner in town, and the Eagles beat them 17-7. I don't know why. I don't know what day it is, but I remember that. And and the Eagles went to 7-2.
Yes.
And we're driving home on your bus, and we're talking about the playoffs. And the Eagles never won another game.
Yeah, Byron Evans came down with an injury that game, and they never came back.
Right.
And I still remember the last game against Cincinnati.
Well, Kotite parlayed that into the Jets' head coaching job. I still remember Mike Lupica, because they had fired Pete Carroll, the Jets did. And so Mike Lupica, who I really like a lot, and he said, "Wait a minute!" At the press conference, he said, "Wait a minute, let me get this straight. So you're firing a guy that lost the last 5 games of the year, and you're replacing him with a guy that lost the last 7 games of the year." So and then just everybody just burst out laughing. I wasn't there, but I saw it on film, on TV camera. I thought that was the place just went nuts.
When Norman Brayman. Oh God, Norman Brayman. When Norman Brayman fired,
I think I know where you're going with this, but go ahead.
Buddy Ryan.
Yeah.
He was the guy, and Harry Gamble was the general manager, and we all love Harry. They chose Kotite over Jeff Fisher. Now Jeff at that point was only like 30 or 31 years old, Jeff had a pretty good run until basically the last couple years in Houston, or not Houston, in Nashville, and then out here the team wasn't very good, and he got fired. But I think the Eagles would have been a lot better with Jeff Fisher than Rich Kotite.
Oh, I think so too.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
It was all about money with Norman Brayman.
Yeah.
Still when they retired, Mike Quick Day, they gave him
it was a golf bag with
no
golf
golf.
clubs.
Yeah, they gave him a golf bag.
Yeah, and Bill Conlon famously wrote, "It's just like Norman to leave nothing in the bag."
That was a great quote. Bruce, your last comments, and we'll let you go for the day.
Well, one last thing. The college football bill got a big boost yesterday. Now, it's still got a long way to go. When the SEC and the Big Ten came out in support of it, there's some language changes, and we don't want to get in the weeds and all that stuff about that. But hopefully, Congress can somehow find a way, because there's a union, there's a lot of union pressure on the Democrats to, unionize the players, et cetera, like that. But I'm hoping that it works and everything, and because I think it could give college football some structure. And so hopefully Congress can put it together. It's a bipartisan bill, but they can't agree on today being Saturday. So let's hope that it gets through.
I hope so too. Because it's been football's been different, and we like to get it back to a little normalcy. Like I said, every kid deserves to play. But I love the one transfer rule, different things they want to put in the bill, and 5 years of eligibility, not 7.
And the thing is, if Congress passes it and the president signs it, there are obviously going to be lawsuits. But you know what? When Congress passes a bill and the president signs it, you can sue all you want. It ain't going to go anywhere.
Good.
It's not going to go anywhere. Okay?
We'll talk more about that next week, okay?
Okay. All right.
Okay. Thanks again. Have a great day.
Okay.
Back
Same
to 10:30 unless you hear otherwise, sir.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
Bruce, pleasure once again. Thoroughly
Yep,
enjoyed
thank
it.
you.
Yep, thank you.
Okay.
Bye
Goodbye.
bye. Bruce Nagy. Thank you, Bruce Barati. Been a fun 2.5 hours.
It has. It went fast.
Yes.
It went faster than some of our 2 hours.
Sorry, yeah, we had a good time today. So a lot of great guests. Thanks to them.
Yep.
We'll be back next Saturday. Just remember to follow our sponsors, Palmer Trophy and Awards, Regal Insurance, Mike Fleck Roofing, Marblehead Chowder House, Berkshire Hathaway, Sam Ruda, College Hill Tavern with the Melhams, John and Maynard, Giacomo's, of course, Sal, Kelly Nissan, Mike DeSora, Urco Credit Union, Larry Rice, and Michael Wallace. So follow those guys and patronize them and tell them you listen to us on JAJL Sports Radio. Take care, everyone. Have a great day.